In 1942, a shipyard worker's wife named Margaret in Norfolk, Virginia, earned nothing. Her husband, James, made $28 a week. $6 went to rent, $2 more to utilities, $5 went to war bonds. What was left? $15 fed 3 children and 1 elderly mother for 7 days. That was $2.14 per person. Her neighbors assumed she was barely surviving. The truth was sharper. By December 1944, Margaret had secretly saved $847 in a leather diary, recorded as ration points converted to war bonds. When James came home that year, unemployed from the Navy Yard, Margaret handed him a passbook, paid deposit for a house. They managed money differently. Not with credit cards, not with hope. They managed it like arithmetic. Every number meant something. Every transaction was a choice.
These women did not look like they were building anything. They looked like they were surviving. Neighbors saw patched dresses, mended stockings, worn shoes. What the neighbors didn't see was the system. No spreadsheet, no receipt file. Just a discipline so absolute it organized itself. They were running an operation. It had no name, it had no book. It worked. We threw every one of those habits away the moment the war ended. We called it progress. We called it moving on. The women who fed families on ration books, who saved bacon grease in tin cans, who drew seams on their legs with eyebrow pencils, those women disappeared. We replaced their arithmetic with credit. We replaced their discipline with convenience. Our savings rates are lower than theirs were. Our debt is higher. Our waste is astronomical. We lost the second part. Number 20 on this list saved a factory girl in Detroit $4.60 every single week during 1943, enough to buy 1 complete war bond coupon by month's end. Number 12 was a practice so widespread that the Office of War Information spent entire propaganda campaigns trying to stop it, and they failed. And number 4, the habit that every woman on the home front performed without thinking, turned a shortage that Washington said was permanent into something that fed her children. Talks about this anymore. Hit subscribe. Let us count down the 20 last disciplines of wartime frugality.
A ration book manager named Dorothy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, organized her family's entire food budget around a system the Office of Price Administration introduced on March 28, 1943. Every week, Dorothy received 48 blue ration points for her family of 4. Canned goods were the battlefield. A can of peas cost 8 points. Chicken soup cost 5. She did not shop emotionally. She planned 7 full days of meals on Sunday evening. She calculated points to the unit. The Office of Price Administration's 1943 household survey found that women who pre-planned meals around ration points reduced food waste by 34% compared to those who shopped without planning. Dorothy's weekly point budget never exceeded 47 of her 48 allowable points. The 1 point she held back was insurance. Insurance against hunger. The ration book told her what she could not have. The notebook told her what she already did.
A housewife named Ruth in Gary, Indiana, kept a small cloth notebook in her kitchen drawer. Every Sunday, she wrote 7 lines, 1 for each day. Monday, beans, cornbread, canned beets, 67 cents. Tuesday, meatless, pasta, tomato sauce, green beans, 43 cents. She did this every single week without exception for 44 months, never missed once. The Federal Reserve's Wartime Household Survey documented that women who maintained written meal plans saved an average of $4.60 per week compared to those who did not. For Ruth's family, that meant an additional war bond purchase every month, $1.84 added to national defense. Her children never once felt poor. The calendar was tyranny. The notebook was freedom. A factory girl named Marie in Detroit, Michigan saved every single drop of cooking fat. When she fried bacon, she poured the grease into a tin can and placed it on the windowsill to solidify. Twice a week, Marie walked the can to her local butcher shop. The butcher waited. In December 1943, he paid her 4 cents per pound and issued 2 red ration points for every pound she delivered. The Office of War Information's 1942 campaign declared that 1 pound of waste fat produced enough glycerin for 10 rifle cartridges. Marie's contributions were not symbolic. She was literally manufacturing ammunition. In 1 month, Marie collected 6 pounds. That was 24 cents in cash plus 12 red ration points. 12 points bought 1 pound of butter. The government rationed the shortage. She rationed her own abundance. A mother of 5 named Violet in Lowell, Massachusetts received powdered milk. Real milk was rationed. Violet mixed powdered milk with real milk, 50-50 in a 2-quart pitcher. She had converted 1 quart of real milk into 2 quarts of functional milk. Her children drank from an imaginary supply. Her ration card told her she could afford 1 quart. Her mathematics told her she could afford 2. The American Home Economics Association published a 1943 recipe guide confirming that whole milk mixed with powdered milk maintained taste and nutritional value. Her youngest child did not know the difference until 1955. The dairy regulated supply. She regulated perception. When DuPont stopped producing nylon stockings for civilians in February 1942, women faced a social crisis. Bare legs were considered improper. Silk had disappeared. Rayon sacked. Nylon had been the answer. Now it was ammunition. A secretary named Eleanor in New York purchased a bottle of Max Factor liquid stockings in August 1941 for 75 cents. The bottle contained enough product for 24 pairs of stockings. She applied it carefully to her legs every Saturday night. If she took only lukewarm showers, the makeup lasted until Tuesday. 1 bottle lasted 2 months. Her friend Clara purchased an eyebrow pencil and a device made from a bicycle leg clip, a screwdriver handle, and a pencil. She would draw a perfectly straight seam up the back of Eleanor's legs. The entire effort took 8 minutes. The illusion held through an evening. When the government restricted access to a commodity, women innovated a replacement that required 0 rationing points and demonstrated technical precision that represented manufacturing translated to the human form. The government rationed the stockings. She painted her legs instead. A seamstress named Dorothy in rural Kansas purchased her flour from King Arthur brand specifically because the sack came printed with a beautiful red gingham pattern. 3 sacks made 1 dress. Dorothy unstitched the seams, removed the brand label, and cut dress pieces from the cotton fabric. The pattern pieces required a 36-inch width. 3 sacks provided exactly that. By 1943, over 3.5 million American women were making clothes from flour and feed sacks. It wasn't poverty, it was patriotism. Cotton production had been restricted by War Production Order L-99 in July 1942. Every dress made from a feed sack meant commercial fabric remained available for military uniforms. Dorothy's daughters wore flour sack dresses to school. They were identical in quality and beauty to store-bought dresses. The only difference was origin. The government restricted civilian fabric. She manufactured her own supply.
A woman named Jean in Detroit, Michigan, received an unusual suggestion from an Office of War Information pamphlet. When your husband goes to war, remake his suit for yourself. Jean's husband owned 1 good suit, a pre-war wool gabardine in navy. Jean was 36 inches around the chest. Her husband was 54. She carefully unstitched the jacket at all seams. The front panels became a woman's fitted jacket. The back panel split vertically and widened with interior seams. The trousers became a skirt. Jean cut vertically down the inseam and reassembled the pieces as a skirt waistband. What had been a man's suit became a woman's jacket and skirt ensemble. Jean owned 1 new outfit. Her husband was overseas. The suit, as a suit, was useless. As component material, it was a wardrobe. The fabric was rationed. Her creativity was not. On February 27, 1944, the Office of Price Administration issued 2 billion small tokens made of celluloid fiber. Not metal, because metal was reserved for war production. Red tokens for meat. Blue tokens for processed foods. Each token was worth exactly 1 ration point. 10 tokens equaled 1 ration stamp. The reason was mathematical. Ration stamps came in denominations of 5 and 10 points. When a customer bought a can of peas worth 8 points, the grocer needed to make change, 2 points back. Those 2 points came as 2 tokens. Over the war's final 15 months, the OPA produced 5 billion tokens. A woman named Alice in Memphis paid with a 10-point stamp for an 8-point item. She received 2 tokens and 4 cents in cash. Those tokens held the same legal weight as currency. The government created them because stamps could not be divided. Women understood them because supply demanded precision.
A mender named Sarah in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, mended everything. Stockings with needle and thread to extend their life, dresses with invisible seams, adding panels at the waist, coats with reinforced seams, socks with darning. Mending was not poverty, it was sacrifice. Wearing a patched dress meant you were giving your fabric to the war. Sarah darned socks 3 times a week. She kept a mending basket beside her chair. The Work Projects Administration documented in 1944 that a woman spent an average of 4 hours per week on mending, time that, if commodified, represented $1.20 in unpaid labor. Sarah's children wore clothes that should have been discarded. Those clothes lasted years. The government told her what to discard. She told the government no. A cook named Alice in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, saved every vegetable scrap. Carrot peels, celery ends, onion skins. Every fragment went into a covered glass jar in her refrigerator. Once full, usually after 10 days, she placed the contents in a pot, covered with water, added salt, and simmered for 3 hours. The liquid became broth. 1 jar of scraps produced 2 quarts of vegetable broth. Broth cost nothing. It was made from waste. It required no ration points. It extended her soup budget by 400%. 1 can of soup concentrate plus 2 quarts of broth made 8 servings. Without broth, the same can made 2 servings. She had multiplied her food's efficiency by quadrupling its liquid base. The garbage can was where food went. She made a grocery store out of it instead. A housewife named Clara in Norfolk, Virginia, completed a calculation every Friday. She subtracted her week's actual food spending from her week's ration allotment value. A pound of butter was worth 16 ration points, but cost 47 cents. If Clara could buy butter for 42 cents, she had saved 5 cents. By Friday, Clara had accumulated 30 to 40 cents in point savings. Every 4 weeks, Clara took her accumulated savings, usually $1.84, to the post office and purchased a war bond stamp. By the end of 1944, she had purchased $47 in war bonds.
A canner named Margaret in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, planted a victory garden with her neighbors. The garden produced zucchini, tomatoes, green beans, beets. In late August, Margaret faced a choice: eat fresh now or preserve for winter. She chose preservation. Margaret purchased canning jars and prepared vegetables. She filled jars with hot vegetables and boiling water, sealed them with metal lids. Each jar contained 1 pound of vegetables. Her garden produced 60 jars. From November 1944 to March 1945, Margaret opened 1 jar every 3rd day. That jar became part of a meal that cost no ration points. Her family ate fresh-tasting vegetables in January, in a city where fresh vegetables had not been available since September. She had extended the growing season through chemistry and discipline. The government rationed the present. She preserved the past. A mother named Dorothy in Detroit, Michigan, instituted meatless Tuesdays and meatless Thursdays. On those days, her family ate beans. No meat at all. 0 red ration points consumed. Her family of 4 received 64 red ration points per month. That allowed 4 pounds of meat at 16 points per pound. By eliminating meat from 2 days per week, Dorothy converted her 4-pound meat allotment into a 6-pound allotment. The USDA's 1944 nutritional analysis showed that navy beans contained 22 grams of protein per cooked cup, nearly identical to ground beef. Dorothy's children received adequate protein. They did not realize 4 days a week were meatless. Beans cost her 2 ration points per pound. Meat cost her 16.
The government told her how much meat she could buy. She told the government it was enough. In 1944, the Department of Agriculture reported that 21 million American families had planted victory gardens on 7 million acres. The production totaled 8 million tons of vegetables. These gardens did not require ration stamps. They required seeds, often free from the local library.
A woman named Rose in Akron, Ohio, planted her victory garden in a 20 by 30-foot lot beside her apartment building. In summer 1944, her garden produced 240 pounds of vegetables. At wartime prices, her garden's production would have cost $28.80. She spent $2 on seeds. She had generated a 1,440% return on investment, in food, not money. Rose had disappeared from the rationing system. She was not purchasing food, she was producing it. The government asked for gardens. She asked for nothing and produced everything.
A mother named Helen in Gary, Indiana, owned one dress per child, not one per season, one dress. When her daughter grew, Helen unstitched the hem and let down the fabric. When her son outgrew his trousers, she removed the hem and extended the length. When both had grown beyond their current sizes, she unstitched the side seams, added panels of different fabric, and reassembled the garment 2 inches wider. One dress could accommodate a child's growth from age 6 to age 12 through strategic alteration. Helen kept a sewing kit beside her chair. That was her production facility. The government rationed civilian cotton at 2/3 yards per person per year. Helen's children received no new clothing. They received reconfigured clothing. A single dress lived 4 lives. The government set the fabric limit. She set it lower and made it stretch further. A cook named Irene in Memphis, Tennessee owned a cookbook of sugarless recipes. Sugar rationing dropped to 4.5 ounces per week by 1944. That was 1 tablespoon per day. Irene could not bake normally, so she substituted. For every cup of sugar, she used 3/4 cup corn syrup, or 1 1/4 cups honey, or 1 cup molasses. The Office of War Information published these ratios. Her children had cake twice a month instead of once a week. They did not taste rationing, they tasted resourcefulness. The government cut her sugar allocation. She cut her cake recipe instead, a 33% reduction that somehow generated more desserts. She was rationing her ingredients more precisely. A records clerk named Margaret in Charleston, South Carolina, discovered that ration stamps had expiration dates. Book 1 was valid from May 4, 1942 to April 30, 1943. Within each book, individual stamps had their own validity windows. The letter A stamps were valid 1 week, then the letter B stamps were valid the following week. Margaret created a tracking calendar. She marked each validity window in red pencil. She shopped on Fridays, the last day before each set expired. She planned purchases strategically so that no stamps were wasted. At the end of 1943, she had successfully converted 100% of her family's ration allotment into food. 0 stamps expired. Other families consistently wasted 5 to 8% of their ration allocation. Margaret's family wasted nothing. The government set the expiration dates. She set her calendar. A baker's wife named Frances in Boston, Massachusetts faced an impossible constraint. Butter required 16 ration points per pound. Lard required 8. But in April 1944, lard disappeared from the rationing list entirely. Frances developed a formula using vegetable oil at 1 tablespoon per 3 tablespoons of butter. A recipe calling for a cup of butter became 3/4 cup butter plus 1/3 cup vegetable oil. The Office of War Information published a 1943 bulletin confirming that vegetable oil produced identical texture and rise. Frances taught this ratio to 6 neighbors. Each of them extended their butter ration by 33%. 1 pound of butter became 1 1/3 pounds of usable baking fat. The government told her what she could not use. She invented what she could use instead. A record keeper named Jean in Mobile, Alabama, maintained a household inventory and a composition book. Every week she wrote down everything her family owned: 3 bars of soap, 2 pairs of shoes per person, 14 cans of vegetables. She tracked everything. When she made a purchase, she updated the inventory. When she consumed something, she deducted it. At the end of each month, she calculated her household reserves. If reserves were high, she could skip purchases. If low, she prioritized. She never made an unplanned purchase. She never ran out. She never overbuyed. One woman with 1 notebook kept her family 3 months ahead of crisis. Her inventory was a radar system for shortage. The government issued rations in uncertainty. She issued rations in certainty. It was called the Weekly Reckoning, and a shipyard worker's wife in Norfolk, Virginia named Margaret understood it more completely than any economist could explain it. Every Sunday evening, Margaret did the same thing. She removed her ration book. She calculated the week ahead. She examined her household inventory. She planned 7 complete meals. She calculated points, dollars, time, and discipline. She wrote everything in a leather notebook. Then she closed the book and lived according to that plan for 168 hours. She never deviated. The plan was the law. She was the legislator and the citizen. She had created rules, and she kept them with the ferociousness of a government agency. This was not deprivation. This was mastery. Her household operated with the precision of a factory. Margaret was not running 20 systems at once. She was practicing one system with such absolute consistency that 20 other disciplines arranged themselves around it like planets around a sun. She planned every week of every year for 44 months. The same process executed identically. The leather notebook was not a diary. It was a receipt. The government issued rations. She issued order from rations.
From the outside, these women looked like they were disappearing.
Worn shoes, patched dresses, gray faces from 4 years of calculated privation. But from the inside, they were building. Every saved ration point was a brick. Every rendered cup of grease was mortar. Every preserved jar was a wall rising. By 1945, American women had purchased $185 billion in war bonds, not through earnings, but through discipline. They had converted scarcity into currency. They had made mathematics visible. We threw every single one of those habits away the moment the war ended. We called it progress. We called it moving on. We discovered credit and believed we had invented freedom. We discovered convenience and believed we had discovered time. We were wrong on all counts. We traded the notebook for the receipt. We traded the plan for the impulse. We traded the discipline for the desire. And we traded the abundance they had built, that hard-earned, rationed, calculated abundance, for a simulation of abundance built on debt. Their ration books are museums now. Their notebooks are antiques. Their discipline is folklore. And their wisdom, the understanding that scarcity is not a crisis, it is an education, disappeared so completely that when we face actual scarcity now, we do not know how to live. Margaret closed her leather notebook on December 31, 1945, and never opened it again. She decided the arithmetic did not matter anymore. She was wrong. The arithmetic has not changed. The numbers are still there. They always were. We just stopped counting.